Good evening, boys and girls. Welcome to another live edition of the Highbury Squad, a last-minute switch, but we roll. Let's go.
Mind the gap between the train and the platform. Please stand clear of the discussion doors. The next stop is Highbury Squad.
Good evening, boys and girls. Welcome to another live edition of the Highbury Squad. Delighted this evening to be joined by my very good friend, and of course you know and love him. He's the #1 Arsenal women's supporter other than Maria. It's Mr. Demian Arriaga. Welcome back, my friend.
Thank you. Can you hear me? Hi.
Yes.
Okay, great.
We can always hear your dulcet tones.
Thank you. I am so happy to be here. Thank you for having me. It's always a pleasure to be here with the squaddies and talking to all of you that know so much more about Arsenal than I do. And I look forward to making people laugh and just having a great chat with you, my friend, as always.
Well, you know, we were going to be doing a different kind of show, just to let everyone know. By the way, how rude of me. When Kev is not here, I lose my manners completely. Good evening, squaddies. At ease, everyone. The usual suspects are in the house. I'm a bit flustered. I don't usually get flustered, but there's so much going on in it that we were going to have Susie Rack on the show today. But unfortunately, Susie had a family emergency, and that always comes before anything. But she will be back to talk about her amazing book, A Woman's Game, The Rise, Fall and Rise Again of Women's Football. It comes out on June 16th. She's an award-winning journalist. She's absolutely brilliant. She writes for The Guardian, and she apologizes sincerely for not being able to make it, but family always comes first. And Susie, we look forward to having you on the show. So I had to switch everything up. You were still going to be on. You're here.
Yeah. I was going to be basically a fanboy, hearing two amazing women talk about women's football, and somebody like Susie, who I have. I've read a lot of her articles. I respect her so very much. She's among the top echelon of journalists and writers, and like I said earlier today when I retweeted it, she's one of the most important voices in the game, and I'm just happy that you have that connection with her, and you were ideally or almost able to have her on the show. But, things happen and we need to adjust. But I know that I speak for you and Kevin that the doors are always open for her. And I look forward to hearing what she has to say.
Yeah, it's going to be awesome. By the way, my microphone stand is loose. Does anyone have a $100 bill so I can just park it right under there and just keep it all straight?
Not a $20 bill. We need a $100 bill.
100, yeah. It's always got to be a good old, nice, big fat Benji. By the way, you might find this comment interesting from Terrence. I look like a cross between Bruno Mars and Justin Bieber today. Wow.
I don't know. I think the hat maybe, and maybe the hair, the old school Bieber hair maybe, and the hat maybe something that hey, it's better than this Calvin Phillips thing I have going on. Jesus Christ.
I absolutely love the Calvin Phillips look. That's awesome. It's I'd love to see that all rocked out.
I gotta figure it out. I'm trying to straighten it. I always wanted to have long hair, but it always just grows up. And that's not the look I like. So, we'll see. We'll see what happens. Well, I'll give it a couple of weeks and see what I do with this animal that I have on top of my hair.
I think it's important that we see that look. By the way, my ears are completely blocked. I can't hear anything. I cut my finger yesterday.
Man.
I text Kev this morning to wish him a happy Dicky Bow Thursday. He wrote me back and he goes, Soph, it's Wednesday. On Monday's show, I pre-recorded our first Football Frenemies episode and dated it June 13th. And one of our listeners, Ray, wrote me on YouTube and he's like, are you all right? It's actually the 13th in a week's time. So I don't know. Is there like that, that retrograde thing?
Oh man,
is there any of that
don't
happening?
know. I just chalk it up to me turning 40 in a couple of weeks, and I try to forgive myself for mistakes like that. But it happens. You work a lot. You do so much like I always tell you, you do so much for Arsenal. You and Kevin, your tireless work, your dedication is just so amazing, and it gives us all such a important space, to be here, to interact, whether we do it live or we listen to the show later. It's just important. So don't be too hard on yourself. We all love you here, and we totally understand if there's some technical things or we're a little aloof sometimes, and we got your back.
Yeah, well, thank you. I appreciate that. It did make me laugh. I am 51 now, so things are going to start happening, Demian. You're over there on the other side of town moaning about 40. Okay, just saying.
Hey, you're right. I'm not complaining.
Lynn says we're still two babies to her.
Okay, I'll take that.
Yeah. Yes.
Take that.
I have entered the Twiglet zone. Is that a take on the Twilight Zone? I have no idea what the Twiglet. I don't know. Maybe I'm just being stupid. I choose not to put Newman's comment up. Let's just say that it could get some people really afraid of stuff. Yeah, he's 40. Can you believe? Yeah,
I am.
Okay. Here we go.
Virginia. I'm 40. I am 39. Well, I'm not 40. I'm lying. I'm 39. I'm 39. I'm turning 40 June 25th.
What are you doing for the big 40? Are you allowed to tell us?
No, I'm not.
Surprise you?
No, I might just go have dinner with my wife at the Rainbow here in Hollywood, and which is like a rock bar, legendary rock bar. But no, I don't know. I just haven't really been too excited about entertaining or inviting a bunch of people and then having to and there's still COVID. Let's just be real. I'm still not in full on social mode where I want to see a lot of people, and so I'm kind of guarded. And
right. You're still just playing it safe.
Yeah, and I might travel actually during those dates for some shows. So I'm still kind of. That's the life of a musician. You can't make plans. There's a saying, if you're a musician and you don't have a gig and you want one, book a vacation. And that's what I did. I've told this story before. When I went to the Women's FA Cup final, I was supposed to go on a 10-day Arsenal women and Arsenal men just dream holiday, going to a bunch of matches. And the second I landed, I got a phone call asking me to come back the next day to play, to perform. So I had to do it.
Yeah, no, I hear you. You're getting lots of love in the house from everyone saying that you don't look old enough to be a day over.
I appreciate that.
And
well, thank you.
Lynn said that she's old enough to be my mum, and you're old enough. She's old enough to be your grandmother. So there you have it. There you have it. Let's get stuck into some football talk, shall we? I don't know who's on delay. Is it me or you?
Let's do it.
I don't know if there's a little bit of a delay, but we'll.
I don't know.
Yeah. You can hear me fine?
I think you were a little bit delayed, but I hear you perfectly.
I've been delayed all week. There's no doubt about that. So, yeah. Right, let's talk a little bit of football, shall we? Get stuck into some news. Good evening to everyone in the house. Lots of you will be listening on replay on YouTube and, of course, on iTunes, Spotify, and aCast. Thank you so much, no matter where in the world you might be, for joining us. Always love a little small talk at the start of the show. Awards were handed out today. Feels like they're a bit late, with the old awards. But why don't we start with you and your favorite team in the whole world? And I think this season has been your favorite player on the planet, perhaps other than Van der Donk, of course. We know your love for her will never diminish or die, no matter who she plays for.
That's right.
But this young lady...
Yes.
Deservedly so?
Oh, my God. Without a doubt. I will say really quickly that if we were to... goalkeeper should get more love. So I would say that Manu Sinsberger had an unbelievable season. But aside from her, obviously, Beth Mead had an unbelievable season. I'm so proud of her. I did a podcast thinking or predicting, whatever that means, that she was going to have her best season of her career. And I was so happy to see her flourish and just contribute so much and track back and press, assists, goals. It was just unbelievable to see, starting from the first goal she scored or the 2 goals she scored at the Emirates against Chelsea in the first game of the season. And I'm not surprised whatsoever that she got player of the season. And she's also a massively important figure in the dressing room. Her outgoing personality, her help, her charity work, all the stuff that she does to try to propel women forward in on and off the pitch. So I'm so happy. I think it's very, very deserved for sure.
So Zinsberger was great this season, but the emergence, I say emergence, and it's almost like an insult to Beth, isn't it? But do you understand where I'm coming from? Like, there's no doubt whatsoever that she just cranked it up and went to a totally different level this season. But I think there are some people that maybe they didn't acknowledge her at that level, and maybe that's because Miedema has been such an insane rock star and gotten to legendary status so young in her career, let alone her Arsenal career. Would you say that's a fair assessment? Like, that she's gone unnoticed, but she's been playing with a chip on her shoulder, and my goodness, she's made people notice this season.
I mean, I don't disagree with what you're saying. I actually agree with a lot of what you're saying. I think on one hand, the Viviana Miedema playing a deeper role made her stand out even more so. I think Beth has been this player before as well. Like, so I'm not too surprised, like I said. But I think that the chip on her shoulder had to do with her not being picked for, I'm forgetting whatever competition it was, for the England Lionesses. She wasn't picked.
For the Lionesses, that's where it really started. That's what I think. Yeah,
and I think that was, and you could hear her in interviews, she was so determined to show the world, improve people, like, you definitely should have picked me. Mm-hmm. And for Arsenal, she's a fan favorite, and she has so much potential still because she can play on the wing on either side. She can also obviously play as a center forward, as she did in Sunderland, and she can take free kicks, as we saw this season. She can take set pieces, and she's just a baller. And she reminds me of sort of Wayne Rooney, towards the not necessarily the end of his career, but when Man United were losing. Wayne and David Beckham actually did this before, and that's her favorite player. He would sort of play in this sort of quarterback role and just spray passes all over the pitch when the team were losing. She can do that as well. She does it really, really well. Mm-hmm. And so I'm in agreement with you in that she has stepped up when it's needed, but I just think that the whole team sort of like rose a little bit in level, and it can only go up from here, I hope.
Do you know what I love about her too is that she's unapologetic, and one of my favorite moments of the season wasn't necessarily a moment on the pitch, but I think it was in February where someone posted, I can't remember if it was Give Me Sport or there was an outlet that posted not one Arsenal player has scored a goal this month or something along those lines. Right. And Beth Mead retweeted it and quote tweeted it and said, but that's not true now, is it? Right. And I just love that she has that bravado about her, which I don't know if I think Jonas has really done wonders with her this season. I think he's put her on a mountaintop and said, you can be the best. But I love that about her. Yeah. I think, going to your last point really quickly, I think that Viv is so okay with not being on the spotlight. She doesn't like being on the spotlight. She's like, you know what? I'll lay back in the mix, lay back in the cut. You go up there and you be loud. You do you, Beth. And I think Jonas identifies that as well, and it allows her that freedom. I also think that society-wise, I love that sort of female empowerment, female, unapologetic, because it's, first of all, it's correct. She stated a fact. And she also did it she didn't insult anybody. She didn't,
call them, put them down or call them irresponsible or all the things that I wanted to tell those people. And she backs it up. There was also an incident where she showed a picture with a vaping pen or whatever, and the comments by people were just absolutely insane. And she backs it up on the field. It's not like she, like we see with men all the time. Like we saw with Ozil, talk X, Y, or Z, and all he was doing was playing Twitch for a lot of people and all this other stuff. Beth doesn't do that. She and it's not like there's a pattern of misconduct. She made one bad decision on social media for a lot of people. I don't really care. But I just love that about her. I love her personality. I love that she, like you're saying, she's unapologetic, and she brings attention to the game. She's stellar, and I think she's going to light up the Euros. I do convinced. Too. Convinced.
Yeah, I do too. How much are you looking for, before we get on to our next player of the season, how much are you looking forward to? You promised to come back when Susie's on, though, because we were going to get into
Absolutely.
the Euros, and she was going to give us a little snippet and a preview of what we can expect. But in a nutshell, I can't wait for the tournament. I just cannot wait. And I love how the game has evolved so much this season, especially the league in England catching up to, the rest of Europe, superseding and superpassing, I think, the women's game at domestic level here in the United States, from the excitement, the players.
Yep.
You've got rivalries now that are born. You've got, from the excellence of Barcelona to, the arrogance of Chelsea and Emma Hayes, and the emergence of Jonas as manager. And to the point where Arsenal, when they announced the new deals for our managers, they put Jonas at the table with Mikel Arteta and announced it in that way. And our club has definitely been trailblazing in that regard. But this tournament is coming at the perfect time to keep feeding that evolution of the women's game.
Absolutely. And also with the World Cup basically back to back, it's just going to keep, the momentum going. One thing I'll say really quickly, and I don't want to be the guy that just forces this issue, but I'm always fascinated by, how automatically when there's the men's manager and the women's manager, it's always like the women's manager, whether he's a male or female, they're always like looking, they frame it so that he's always learning from the men's squad manager. And I think that this season, if anybody had to ask questions to another manager, would have been Mikel Arteta asking Jonas questions. He was 1 point behind Chelsea. And we're in the Champions League and so on and so forth. So I always, that's like a pet peeve that I have, where it's just like, it really grinds my gears. I think
he was phenomenal in his first season.
Let's outstanding. Everything that we won in an Arsenal manager for the men's squad, we have it with Jonas. Same as players. But anyway, that's a whole different thing. I agree with you. I'm so excited about the Euros. As some people know, I'm obsessed with the Dutch national team. So I'm very, very, very excited to see how they're going to line up, especially that midfield is going to be incredible. And I think that the growth of the game in the leagues, the Champions League, now, when we see France, we're going to follow a bunch of people that played for Lyon. When we see Spain, obviously a lot of those players play for Barcelona. And so, obviously in the German team, obviously players that play in Wolfsburg and play in Bayern Munich and other teams. So I'm really, really, really excited, and it couldn't come at a better time, I think, as well. Especially when there's no direct competition with the men's World Cup that could have been in the summer. Now it's in the fall, because of money. But I'm just really excited about this happening and having its own space. I think it's beautiful.
Me too. Quick one from Virginia here, because I think it's a really good question. I think the league, we saw a lot of improvements, didn't we, this season from a number of teams. You could say, Virginia's talking about Manchester City, coming back stronger, United getting stronger, Tottenham were better this season, West Ham were better this season. Heck, we lost to a team that got relegated and was the worst in the league in Birmingham, but still, you're starting to get those kinds of results in the league now. Do you think that it will be tougher for us next season?
I don't know. I mean, I think that's a great question, first of all. So thank you, Virginia. I think that on paper, if you tell me that we have Manu Zinsberger, one of the top 3 goalkeepers probably in the world, Steph Catley, Katie McCabe, Beth Mead, Kim Little, Leah Williamson, Leah Valti, Noel Moritz, Caitlin Ford. I mean, the list goes on and on and on. I'm 100% confident that we can win the Champions League, and I think that we can win the league, of course. With this same squad, we lost the league by 1 point. And mind you, yeah, we lost to Birmingham, but also Chelsea had like 3 last-minute equalizers, and 2 of them should have been called offside or something like that. So I don't think we're far off anything. I'm very confident that we have. I do think that my criticism it's not necessarily that we should get stronger against other teams or so on and so forth. I think that the gap, and I've said this before on my podcast, the gap between the starters and some of the subs is wider than I feel could be or should be, or other teams like Chelsea, for example, or Man City have. So if we can close that gap, I think it's gonna do a lot of good for us.
I'm not gonna lie. I would really love to shove it to Emma Hayes next season, mate. I have a lot of respect for what she's achieved in the game, and she's definitely a little bit like Jill Ellis, someone who's been talked about now to be able to go in and manage a men's team.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
What she's done is stunning. However, I would love it. I would absolutely love it if we beat them.
Yeah, I mean, it's just you need that. In football, you need that sort of nemesis, and we've talked about Sam Kerr before, the arrogance, and I'm like, oh my God, I can't stand her. And I knew she was going to score. I just knew it. Wow. And I saw her. She crushed me. She broke my heart in person. But if I saw her in person, I would give her the biggest hug and I would thank her, because that's like what Ronaldo did to us, what Ryan Giggs did to us. But Ryan Giggs, that's a whole different thing. So I love that. I love that about the sport. And not as much as in women's football, there's just a lot of friendship, and everything is beautiful and cool, and there's no really bad tackles and no fighting and stuff like that. There's still this element of a little bit of dirty, hate that I think it's so beautiful. And I would love to take that title from Emma Hayes and Sam Kerr and all those incredible ballers.
This is what I love. I think this is what is getting, more women into the game, and also men as well, is there's real rivalries now, like I said earlier, between not only teams but players as well. Okay, we're going to move on to the next player of the season. Before we do, John Mavroudis, fellow Greek, I think.
Malaka.
Welcome to the show, John. A long-time Arsenal fan, new subscriber from California in our neighborhood. Loved you on the Guna Talk channel with Tom. Carry on. We will carry on, John. And ευχαριστώ πάρα πολύ. Ελπίζω να είσαι καλά. Ευτυχίες, sending them your way. Right, let's get to this player. I don't think there was any doubt. Do you? Demian,
God.
This lad would be, and we're going to get into a bit of a conversation here with regards to him and the transfer gossip, as the title in the show says. No doubt, right?
I am. If I were to come on this amazing show and lie to you and lie to the viewers, I think it would be a crime. I watched a lot of Arsenal matches this season, Arsenal men. I didn't pay anywhere near as much attention as I did with women, with the women's squad. I do feel that he should have been the player of the season from what I saw, but I honestly have no idea on his stats. I have no idea on, which crucial games he scored in, or what goals he set up. I just love the player. I absolutely love him. and I have a extremely soft spot for him subjectively because of what he went through in the Euro Cup. So I love this kid. I was so close to. I was like, I don't know, 20 likes on Twitter short of getting a tattoo of him riding a inflatable unicorn. But I honestly couldn't argue almost like for or against it. I just love the player. I'm actually curious to know why you think he should have been the player of the season.
Well, I mean, not only was he our top scorer, and the reliance on him over the last 2 seasons has been quite insane, but the manner in which that he has taken on the baton to be the face of the Arsenal and the insurmountable pressure that comes with, you know, being a Highland boy and having all of these expectations. And I think that he comes from a great background. He has a lot of faith. You know, his family are very close to him and he to them, but he's just a good boy. But, you know, at the end of the day, you've got to do your talking on the pitch. And Saka continues to put this team on his shoulders, continues to embarrass a lot of the senior players at times when they haven't shown up in games. This is why sometimes I say he's not immune to criticism, because we don't want to enable him and have him be a soft touch. But it's hard to criticize him when he has been the savior for so long at his age. He's keeping players like Jack Grealish out of the England side, a £100 million player, you know, that some would say hasn't flopped at Manchester City. They still won the league, but they didn't win the league because of Jack Grealish. He is not only in the conversation, Demian, to be player of the year for Arsenal, but for the league, you know, and some would argue Europe-wide as well. Phil Foden wins it because City win the Premier League, but it was Saka, the best young player of the year this season. On the whole, was Declan Rice. I think there's a lot of fantastic talent emerging for England, but for this Arsenal team, his importance right now is huge, which is why we come to the conversation about the rumblings, the gossip. Now, some would say he's untouchable as an Arsenal player, but you and I know that money talks and bullshit walks.
Yeah.
Let's just say City come in, he was valued, CIES did their evaluation of players and across the world, and I think Mbappe came in at 180. I think they were undervalued, to be honest, and Saka came in at 85. Would you ever consider selling him? And it's, for me, it's not a Coutinho situation at Liverpool where the 120 million bought them the Champions League, bought them the title. But Coutinho and Liverpool is very different to Saka and Arsenal. I feel like if we sell this kid, the sky will fall.
Yeah, I agree 100%. I think, we both listen to a bunch of Talk Sport, and Andy Goldstein always talks about, how paying a player, it might be Cundy that says this, how like breaking down a large sum of money for a player and for a transfer, for what you're going to get in 4 years, it's like signing, I'm horrible at math, right? So let's just say that you sign a player for £50 million, that equals to £10 million, a new player for £10 million every year for 5 years or something like that. I think that if we were to sell Saka, not only would the sky fall, but I think it would show so much lack of ambition because of what he means to the club on so many levels. So I don't think we should even entertain that idea. He's nowhere near the peak of his career. And, his future is so bright, and we're always here about, like, you got to build a team around such player. We got to build a team around such player. We got to build. If we don't build a team around Saka, or Arteta doesn't do it, or the board doesn't do it, they should just give up their positions and let somebody that actually knows what they're doing take over. Because I think he's the one player in the entire squad that deserves to be, fully involved or taken care of and put in this bubble and shown how much he's loved and beloved, and kind of like a Leah Williamson for the women's team, you know.
Yeah,
she can't leave. You can't let her leave. I understand Viviana Miedema being sold, even Beth Mead to a degree, but a Leah Williamson, because she's Arsenal through and through. Same with Bukayo Saka. So
yeah, Williamson is our female Tony Adams.
Yeah,
and and Saka is just the Haaland boys have always been revered at the Arsenal. We've seen in the past the players that have come through the system. Super Kev talks about this show all the time about, the value of coming through the ranks with, players like, Rocastle and, all of those younger players. They were nurtured, by the club, and whether they were Haaland boys or not, there's always been something inherent in Arsenal, being able to cultivate young talent. The problem is that, in the past we've given up on that talent, not because they're not talented, but because we've always wanted to cash in. And look, I don't think for a second that Arsenal would even entertain selling Saka, but at the same time, because of the owners that we have, it wouldn't surprise me if we do. And Emile Smith-Rowe, the same. I say on this show all the time, I've always said we've got 2 more seasons to show them that we mean business. I actually think, and look, once players get down to 2 years left on their contract, what are we seeing in football? We are seeing a road that leads to players wanting even more control, running their contracts down and being able to dictate, leaving on a free, gets them more wages, fills their pockets. And you know what? They have every single right to do that. In the past, we've been so guilty about letting players run down their contract. Heck, we've given players away for free. I say on this show all the time, 2 years. But I think if we do not qualify for Champions League next season, and let me tell you, missing out on Champions League this year is not because I was like, oh yeah, we can win it, we can be competitive in it. No, you get better players and it keeps players like Saka,
of course,
happy. I say next season, if we don't make the Champions League, this becomes a really big pickle for our club.
I agree. I 100% agree. And I read a comment from Taib Hussein, had a great comment. He said, sell Saka, I want Ansu Fati and Vinicius. 2 world-class players. They're phenomenal players. And I don't disagree with the idea of selling a player for a lot of money to get 2 players, right? That could be amazing and whatever. I just think that what Saka means for the culture of Arsenal. So let me put it this way. I grew up in Venezuela being a massive Arsenal fan. I've been supporting them since 96 or so, 97. And I was 14. I dreamt of being from London. I dreamt of walking down the streets of North London and, talking smack to Spurs players or going to the games at Highbury. That was like my dream. So when I see Bukayo Saka, I feel a deeper connection for what he means and he represents than I could ever with Ansu Fati or Vinicius, regardless of how much they do for the club. I would be very appreciative if they do X, Y, or Z and they win. But as far as like the people in Spain have an expression they call something duende, or something has duende, which means it has like a gnome, which is like it has something special, like this thing, this entity. I think Saka has the Arsenal gnome. I think Smith-Rowe has the Arsenal gnome, and I like that, and I feel closer to the club with that, and that's all I can say from sort of where I stand. And I'm not speaking from a financial wellness point of view for the club. I'm just speaking completely subjectively. I'm a musician, I'm not a football player. I also love Martinelli so much, and he's, South American. I love the kid. So I think those 3 are just so special, and we can only really see what they're about if we qualify for the Champions League, exactly what you're saying in the next couple of years.
And I think, learning from mistakes or learning from the smartness of, the Grealish contract with Villa. I've seen a few of you say Grealish went for 100 million. His buyout clause was 100 million. Boom. There's the check. Harry Kane did not move to City because he and his brother had a really bad contract, that gave control to the club. And I hope that when he does sign this deal, and I do believe that Saka will sign this deal, that we take care of what can happen in the longer term. Martinelli's been linked, and so has Gabriel linked. The gossip, this is why the show's called Arsenal Plays of the Season and Transfer Gossip, to Juventus. But this is what happens. At some point, the stroking and, our young players, you have to start winning. This is big boy football. And the more these players are seen and the better they get and continue to evolve, the harder it is for us to hold on to them, especially if we're not winning. And this is where the rubber meets the road for our club. So a lot of fans who poo-poo other fans who say, trust the process, trust this, trust that. I get all of that. Fine. At some point, you have to win more than the FA Cup. At some point, you have to be in the Champions League every season. If you're not, it's just this vicious cycle. And you keep doing the same thing over and over and over again. We're back in Europe, thank goodness. The Europa League is a little carrot you can dangle, but it's not the same carrot as the Champions League. I think the time has evolved since we were able to sign players like Aubameyang and Lacazette and Partey and Tierney and Gabriel. Things move very quickly in football, and instant gratification is always going to be the soup du jour in today's market, Demian. We just see the dominance of money and the dominance of, the need to be on the stage, the world stage. The Champions League is the biggest of all, and at some point, these players are going to want to be part of that.
I agree. I think, there's so much to say with this topic, but really quickly, let me see who said this. I think Keenan said, he said, you guys talk like a bunch of 5-year-olds. We can't handle our transfers on an emotional level. And I agree, right? That's why I don't work for Arsenal, and I don't make a profession out of football. And the beautiful thing is that regardless of what you think, Keenan, we should do, you have the exact same sort of relevance to the club as I do with my silly opinions or anybody else, right? This is just to have sort of express thoughts. And I do think that there's something sort of artistic, romantic about the emotional side of it that sort of keeps people engaged. I think I'm not saying that's the right way. If nothing else, I think your way is the right way of seeing it. It's sort of more cutthroat, for sure. But I just can't do that. I can't separate, my feelings from this. I try, and it's very, very difficult for me. And I think that people at the club shouldn't be like I am. And should spend the money. And going to a point you said really quickly about trusting the process and progress and so on, I am not an Arteta fan. I wouldn't go as far as saying as he has no clue what he's doing, but I also, in a public forum, I would say that when nobody's watching. But yeah, I'm not his biggest fan as a manager, and I tweeted this I think 10 years ago that we should have gotten Ancelotti. Or Guardiola at the time. Obviously, hindsight is 2020. But I much rather have proven true veteran managers than Arteta personally any day. And again, that's why I hit stuff with sticks for a living, and I'm not in a football board somewhere and owning a club.
Well, talking of hit stuff with sticks, the kids have been asking, are we going to get a little sample of something towards the end of the show?
Yes, I'm going to play. I have a handpan here.
Okay.
So I'll bring it up and I'll play a little bit
Okay.
I'll improvise something for a couple of minutes.
Now, before we do that, by the way, you guys, we've got so much time and weeks to talk about transfers. I am going to start doing a transfer talk in 10, just a little 10-minute snippet where we post and give thoughts on what's happening. But things change every single day, and there's a long way to go. Got to save some of that energy. And I'm actually enjoying doing the Football Frenemies, a new series. If you missed episode 1, it's on the channel now, with Geordie Pete Redding talking a little bit of Newcastle. Speaking of dirty money. Sorry, did I say that out loud? Episode 2 is next week with Dale O'Donnell from Stretty News. So that's going to get really dirty because it's Manchester United and Arsenal. And the summer series, of course, has been a lot of fun. And because today's show switched at the last minute, I'm going to do the summer series questions with you, Demian.
Okay.
And we're going to have a little bit of fun. So I'm enjoying talking football and having a little bit of the show be about football, and then also a little bit about pop culture. And I can't wait for you to play for us. So with that said, I'm going to whip out my pop culture questions for you. Okay. If I can find them, they're here somewhere. So bear with me for 1 second, people. I think the first one is favorite film.
Easy. The greatest film I have ever watched, Snatch. And I know a little bird. Oh, that's not how I meant it, but you know what I mean. I know somebody that worked on that movie.
I love that you love this movie
so much.
It's actually one of Guy Ritchie's best films.
I think it's his best film.
So a really quick story, because what I love about when people choose their stuff is it spawns a little bit of conversation too.
Exactly.
And these guys love this type of stuff as well. So I'm working. It was when I was head of PR for Sony Pictures in the UK and Ireland, and we were working on Snatch. And you know, because the film was shot in England, we got to go on set and do stuff with the media and press and stuff like that. And then it came to planning the release of the movie. You know, Brad Pitt is an epic guy. Loved working with him. Guy Ritchie was lovely. Matthew Vaughn, really lovely. So we're having a meeting. They're coming up to the offices. And back then, Sony's offices in Golden Square was like stepping on the set of a sci-fi movie. It was so cool. So we're all excited to have this meeting because we're all thrilled about this film. And then the reception buzzes us. And they're like, you are not going to believe who just walked through the doors with Guy Ritchie and Matthew Vaughn. It was Madonna.
Wow.
So that was when they were about to get married. And she shows up for the meeting and just as a hanger-on. And we all, I mean, I'm sorry, but my generation, she was everything. You could say what you want about today's Madonna, but when I was growing up, when I was young, she was it. She was everything. Especially for a little ethnic girl like me, you know, thinking you can smash through barriers and believe you can do anything. So we made her a cup of tea. We all fought over they're like, you never like making the tea. And I'm like, I'll make the tea today. So yes, it was absolutely just one of those wow moments.
That's amazing.
Wow. And it turns out that their security guard who did the security for us on Snatch, when I moved to California, he invited me to when the album Frozen came out, and he invited me to the show, and I went to the show, and it was awesome. And afterwards, he called and he said, "Hey, do you want to hang out?" And I go, "Yeah, of course. Like, you know, let's do something." He goes, "Do you mind if I come to yours and just bring a few friends over?" I go, "Absolutely not, no problem at all." So knocks on my apartment door. And he's standing there with Madonna's dancers, and they all come into the apartment. This is what I love about the industry. These are the good stories and the good parts.
It's amazing.
So they're dancing to Vogue in my apartment.
Oh my God.
I mean, does it get any better than that?
No. Did you like strike a pose and dance with them too?
I totally did. 100%.
Yes. Oh, I love that. That's amazing. That's epic. It's epic.
So yeah, there's a story for you. But anyway, your favorite film is Snatch. I stole your thunder.
By the way, people, when they're commenting, I'm not saying that Snatch is the best movie ever made, because we all know is Jaws or something. I don't know. I'm kidding. It's my favorite. So please, Jesus.
Okay, your best favorite television show ever?
Stranger Things season 3, and I love Mindhunter as well. By the way, I have like several of each. Okay.
Yeah.
I love Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels. I love it. Absolutely love it.
Yeah, that's classic. It's been emotional. I love it. You're right, Brian. This chat room is so weird sometimes. We're everywhere. We're here, there, and everywhere. We move very quickly. Okay, your favorite actors?
Numi Rapaz, who plays Lisbeth Salander in The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo in the Millennium Trilogy, in a ton of movies. She's my favorite actress. And men, I'm not an acting guru, but I think also Bjork in Dancer in the Dark was unbelievable. But I think as far as men, I have a hard time coming up with anybody better than Gary Oldman. Honestly,
Love Gary Oldman.
He's just, I mean, I'm watching Slow Horses right now, and he just commands the whole spectrum of acting is incredible.
I was part of the PR team that worked on the UK release for Nil by Mouth.
I haven't watched that.
Yeah, very heavy movie, but very good film. Really good movie, and he's just fantastic. He really is so talented when you think about all of the different roles that he's played. Okay, now being a musician, I'm really curious for these next couple. Okay, so your favorite band ever?
That obviously it's impossible, but I'll say a few that have had massive impacts on what I do for a living. Megadeth is one of my favorite bands to whom I owe a lot of stuff. The band that got me really into music was Extreme, famous for the song More Than Words, and I got to play with Gary Sharon as my first professional gig, so that sort of full circle moment. Currently, there's a band called Turnstile that I love. As far as classic rock, Pink Floyd. I'm a Pink Floyd fan. And sort of little known band, there's a band called Ours that I love, OURS. I absolutely love their music and has had a massive impact on my life. Of course, the Beatles and so on. So it's really, really, really hard. But if I had to pick one band to listen to over and over and over, I would say this punk band that I love, H2O. I just don't get tired of listening to them.
Wow, very eclectic.
Yeah.
Love it. Absolutely love it. Vinny agrees as well. So you're in good company there. Okay. You've played a lot of gigs. And let me just say, Lollapalooza looked insane.
It was the greatest show for many reasons that I've ever played. That is number one.
How many people were in the audience?
There were 103,000 people. Gunnar loved Nightwish. I love Nightwish as well. I love power metal. Oh, by the way, I'm sorry. I have to go back to the previous band. I said H2O, but the band that another band that I love is Blind Guardian. They're a German power metal band. It was 103,000 people in Sao Paulo. This was, I was performing with Miley Cyrus. And it was right after Taylor Hawkins died, a couple of days after he passed away, and he was next door neighbors with her. And it was also in the heels of all of us almost dying on a plane. We were all flying from Colombia to Paraguay, and our plane got hit by lightning. And we had to make an emergency landing, and that was that. And then we eventually played in front of 103,000 people with Anitta, who's a massive star from Brazil. And so that was among the shows that I've done. That was one of the most special as far as the size and the magnitude of the show.
That video, by the way, of you guys on the jet was crazy. You know, absolutely crazy. And I know Miley posted about it afterwards too. And by the way, can you just explain to the kids out there, she's, because of her background, I think, and, her dad being Billy Ray, and, there's been a little kind of, poppy kitschiness to some of it. Because Terence is asking and a few others. She's a very cool. I'm loving the old stuff that she's doing. Like she's got this whole Stevie Nicks vibe going about her. But I know you don't like talking a lot about, like the people that you work with. But just for the benefit of the children in the back, she's a very cool.
She is the most. Sorry, go ahead. I didn't mean to interrupt.
No. Go on, mate. Go on.
She is the most professional, down to earth, hardworking, genuine, loving, authentic human being. The way that she pays attention to detail, the respect that she shows to every single crew member. She treats the guitar techs, the monitor engineers, the band, her manager, her mom. She treats them all the same. Eye contact, beautiful warmth. Beyond that, she knows every note that's being played by every single musician. She is aware of every move. She's the smartest person in the room, in any room that she walks in. And she truly, when she plays, Blondie, she knows Blondie more than most people know Blondie. When we play the Pixies, she knows more about the Pixies than most people will ever know about the Pixies. When we play covers, we played all kinds of stuff. It's uncanny. She is the most amazing and by far is the most important, most meaningful thing I have ever done. We're talking about somebody that is among, regardless of what people think, she's among the most important female artists in the last 20 years, 25 years, and what she has done for the LGBTQ community has no limits. It's indescribable what she's done for health, mental health of children, standing up against bullying and really, truly important causes. It's unbelievable. And I've been very fortunate to play with many other big musicians and stuff like that. But I would say that I put her at the top of my list, and she's just a dream person to work for and work with.
Very nicely said. Okay, what's your favorite city in the whole world?
Oh, I love Tokyo. It was a very special thing, and I also love Amsterdam.
Oh, yes. Great city. Absolutely awesome city.
London, of course. London.
Oh, Natch.
Yeah.
Your favorite drink?
I have been sober for 10 years.
Amazing.
And that is one of the reasons why I look young, is that. Because I've shaved some years out of my face from drinking. I'm an Arnold Palmer addict. Oh. I love half and half. I'm more of a 70-30, 60-40 lemonade to iced tea ratio.
Right.
Yeah.
So, you don't have too much. Is that sugarless?
No, it has some sugar. It has some sugar.
Yeah. Okay.
Some sugar. Yes.
All right. And your favorite swag?
I like Pedro from Le Grove. By the way, phenomenal interview last show. It's one of my favorite shows you've ever done.
Thank you. He's awesome.
He's the best. He's the best. I didn't know what you meant, but from the interview, I am a Nike boy through and through. But as far as items of clothing that I love, that I have. I've said this before. My house burned back in October when I was on tour, and my wife called me and she said, "Demian, basically the house is about to catch on fire. What do I save from the house? Your instruments, your guitars, or cymbals, or whatever." And I said, No. Take my Dennis Bergkamp shirt, my Edgar Davids shirt, and she saved a couple. So I have a Dennis Bergkamp Netherlands jersey that I bought in 1998 during the World Cup.
Wow.
And that's my favorite. Literally, what would you do if your house burns? That would be that.
Save the shirt. I love it. Good old stuff.
Yes.
Okay, so we have to end on a couple of football ones, of course, swinging it back to the beautiful game. Any game you could go to, any period, any decade, any time that you weren't at that you would love to live through, what would that game be?
There are two very easy ones. The 1998 quarterfinals, Netherlands against Argentina in Marseille. That's the single greatest footballing moment of my entire life. Nothing will come close to it. DVD coming back was pretty damn close, by the way, and winning the Champions League. That one, the 7-0, that the Dennis Bergkamp masterclass that he put against Everton in 2004, I want to say, 2004, 2005, I want to say maybe 2005 season. That was the greatest, one of the single greatest, single person performances I've ever seen, next to Zidane against Brazil maybe, and Forlan, whatever World Cup that was. It was unbelievable. And like you, if I had to pick non-Arsenal matches, it would most likely be the Man United actually against Barcelona when they lost. That would have been amazing to watch. Just to be like,
as I do these through the summer series, and I talk to people, the game that I thought of the other day that I'm like, how have I not mentioned this yet? Was the 82, the greatest team to never win the World Cup, the Italy v Brazil game, where the veins are popping out of Falcao's head. Bergkamp versus Argentina, that was insane, absolutely insane for sure. Okay, last one. You're the owner of Arsenal Football Club. If only you were the owner of Arsenal Football Club, and you get to pick your manager, and you get to pick a captain. And I would do the 11, but we'll do that another day because we're running out of time, because I want you to play. So captain and manager.
My manager would be Zinedine Zidane, okay? Because I would be really interested to see what he does. And Virgil van Dijk would be my captain.
All right. Gosh. Yeah. Man, could have bought him too. I know.
Coulda, shoulda, woulda. Yeah.
People laughed at Liverpool when they paid 72 million for him. Well, can I just say, brilliant answers, absolutely fantastic. And it's always amazing having you on. This is the moment that the squaddies have been waiting for.
Yes. Let's see.
Never heard you play before, so let's do this, everyone.
Let's do this. So I am going to play this instrument called the handpan, which I found a few years ago. I've been fascinated by it. And it kind of mixes percussion with melody. So I'm just going to improvise something. We'll see what comes out, and I'll just play for a couple of minutes. Let's see. So I don't know if you can see it. Can you see it?
I can't see it.
Okay, hold on. Let me see. Let me do this.
Yeah, now we can.
Okay.
Yeah.
So hopefully you'll hear this.
Sounds good.
A little something. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Absolutely unbelievable. You're so talented.
Oh, stop.
I love
You're
it.
Talented. Thank you.
No.
That was fun.
Come on. It was soothing. I swear I could listen to that all day and all night. That was absolutely brilliant.
I love that instrument is so sort of therapeutic for me, and I found it in a time in my life where I felt like I need to create. And, to take a second to say something really quickly, even though I've been a professional musician playing for other people and playing instruments, drums is my main instrument along with like percussion. And I have basses and guitars and stuff, but I never really felt like I could create anything. I never thought that I was enough that I was creative enough, that I had anything interesting to say musically. And I found this instrument. And it allowed me to create and to sort of overcome this imposter syndrome and learn other things, to learn how to, record myself properly. I seeked out help to friends that helped me sort of get sounds better and teach me how to do certain things. All this to say that I have overcome that, and now I can feel very comfortable writing my own music. So if anybody out there, if you've been trying to write a book, to be creative, to start your own YouTube show, your own podcast, I'm sure so many of you want to do something for Arsenal that believe could be better than my podcast and this show, than Le Grove or whatever. Do it. Just do it. Feel free to do it. Try it. Believe in yourself. The more positivity we put out in this Arsenal ecosystem, the better. And I would encourage you to do it with the women's team. But this instrument has shown me much more than just like, oh, I'm going to play, I'm going to jam, and all this other stuff. It means a lot to me. And I hope that you guys and girls find your, I've actually not even heard fully Arsenal Forever. I actually don't love that song, but come at me one by one.
You're Arsenal forever.
Yeah.
I've told them
I'm
already
Arsenal forever. I'm Arsenal forever. Yes,
I've already told them that I'm not a fan of that song. But I'm not going to add anything to that, because what you just said is absolutely brilliant. I will add only one thing. Our listener Stephen Foote, who's actually the guy who coined the phrase squaddies, he's not been well and he's been in hospital and had really serious surgery over the last few days. And he said that really cheered him up, and I just wanted you to know that. I
love that. I love that. I'm not trying to promote my own stuff, but if you like this sort of soothing stuff, I recorded a couple of. I improvised some albums or a Twitch show that I did, and it's up on YouTube. Is it on YouTube? It might be, but it's on Spotify. It's called the Afternoon Tea Sessions, and it's just sort of nature sounds and me playing the handpan, and then I do have some other like synth wavy Stranger Things type of vibes, but that means a lot. That means a lot, and that's, I have no words. It means a lot. So thank you.
Well, thank you for coming on and spending your free time with us. We absolutely adore you here. Have a feeling that we'll be seeing a lot more of you next season as well. I've been putting your handle up throughout the show.
Thank you.
Tell people where they can find your Twitch stuff as well.
Thank you. So, like she said, at Demian Arriaga on Instagram and Twitter. I sort of randomly do Twitch shows on Fridays. It's usually when I do my Arsenal Women Friday chat right around this time. And I also have an Arsenal Women podcast called That Arsenal Women Podcast. So you can find that on YouTube. Actually, it's not on YouTube. I keep saying that. On Spotify, Apple Music, all over. And that's it. That's where you can find me. Yeah.
Absolutely brilliant. Thank you again for coming on.
Thank you.
And I'm so happy that you played for us. That
meant
the world to me and to everybody. I've been waiting for that moment to come and for it to happen. If you guys don't hit the like button tonight, I don't know what to say to you.
Thank you.
Okay,
I'm going to make you a promise. I'm going to watch back the performance, and I'm going to take snippets of that, and I'm going to write a song, a full-on song. Well, not lyrics, but like a beat and blah, 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 blah. And it'll be the song that all of us were a part of, and we'll figure out what we do with that song. How about that?
I love this. I love that idea. And as if I haven't spoiled you enough, you got Demian. Tomorrow night, you get Mr. Tom Canton. So you can get all of your Arsenal questions ready for Tom tomorrow.
Okay.
He is the transfer king. But I love shows like this. These are some of my favorite shows to do. And we've had it's been like a Greek meze tonight. We've had a little bit of everything. It's been like a tapas, a smorgasbord.
Smorgasbord, yeah. Thank you.
And dare I say, even talking about the money and Saka and stuff, I found this to be a very positive experience tonight, and I love it, and that's thanks to you. So
thank you. That means a lot. Thank you so much. I appreciate all of you.
I'm going to let you take us out.
I always forget. I feel bad. I get all anxious. What am I supposed to say?
You thank the squaddies. We do that at ease, and then I hit the button.
Okay, sorry. I just saw Newman's comment. She said Demian's music should be the Highbury Squad outro after bad results. I like that.
Maybe.
Squaddies, I love you all. Yes, I love you. I'm just going to say that. At ease? Am I supposed to say that? I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I love you all. At ease.
Mind the gap between the train and the platform. Please stand clear of the discussion doors. The next stop is Highbury Squad.